for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hey there, Puget Sound people listening on the radio and all of you listening on your electronic devices around the world. And then, of course, all of you listening in a couple of days on the podcast. I know it's very confusing, but you'll get it. Trust me, you'll get this down. And it's really important that you get it down now because, well, I got some news for you. I'll give it to you in a minute. Hi there, I'm Don McDonald, live in Seattle on a Saturday, which doesn't happen very often. I am here at Retiremeet, the annual get-together, and we've been doing these for like 11, 12 years, something like that. I don't know the exact number. I lost count. I'm old. I don't remember. So welcome to the program. Remember, you can call us on Saturdays live at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. Now, because we're at Retiremeet, we have a lot of great speakers speaking at Retiremeet. And today on the program, we're going to have a couple of those great speakers speak to you, which is what speakers do. They speak. We have Joel Saul-Sehy eating his sandwich. How is that, by the way, Joe?
It's a good turkey sandwich.
Good turkey sandwich. Yeah, they do. They have great sandwiches here at Maiden Bauer Center. And Debbie's here, hiding out behind me. She's just wrangling people. But she's not going to be on the show. She doesn't go on shows anymore. She did that back in the 80s. Didn't go so well. So we're not doing that again. That experiment was a failure. And also joining me in just a moment, as soon as I break the news to you, and this is a terrible way to lead her into the show, is Christine Benz, who is like everything at Morningstar now. Her title is so long, she pretty much runs the darn place. And she was talking about retiring, coincidentally, it's Retiremeet. So we've got her, we've got me. I don't know if Tom's going to come by at all. He's being a big shot, glad-handing, introducing people, pretending to be a big old host or something. But I'm here for you for the entire 2 hours. 855-935-TALK is our phone number, 855-935-8255. Now, let's just get this out of the way. Just get it out of the way so you guys can move on. I have been doing a Saturday radio show pretty much every week since July of 1988. By my count, that's almost 40 years. Tom has been doing a Saturday show every week for about 14 years or so. We both decided we really want our weekends back because we're getting older, and the podcast is doing so well. The podcast audience is growing like crazy, and it's so easy to get podcasts. So at the end of March, the 28th of March will be our last live radio show. Now, it doesn't mean we won't do live podcasts, because we probably will, but just our last live radio show, which means all of you who want to hear us on the weekend are going to have to do it via podcast, which, by the way, is my preferred listening method now in the car. I prefer listening to a podcast over listening to the radio because I get to pick what I want to hear. I get to pick the topics I want to listen to. I get to fast forward through commercials. I have options, and so you got the whole month of March to get used to it, and then in April we're going to just be a podcast. So we'll have 5 podcasts a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just like we do now. And we'll still have calls and questions and all of that good stuff. It will just allow Tom and me to spend a little quality time with our families and get some things done that are important. And we, basically both of us have a one-day weekend right now. So that's coming up at the end of the month. And let me just help you real quick when it comes to, if you're not a podcast person, if you have a smartphone, which is, I believe, about 99% of us now, it's a huge number. One guy at Retiremeet out of 400 has a flip phone. Everybody else has a smartphone. On your smartphone, I am confident you either have or can download from the App Store a podcast app. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google has a podcast thing, Google Play or Google something. Overcast, which is a very good one. There's a lot of them. You can download that and you can listen to the podcast through that. Or, even easier, you all know the website because you send questions in there, talkingrealmoney.com, right? Just go to talkingrealmoney.com on whatever device and scroll down the page a little bit, and there's a podcast player right there that's got all the podcasts available to you. Easy breezy. All right? That's my news. That's what I had to share with you. If you want to call, 855-935-TALK is the phone number, 855-935-8255. And the conversation, well, we're going to, hopefully, when he's done with his sandwich, we're going to get Joe Saul-Sehy to come up, say something, as soon as he's done chewing. Christine Benz went away, but I'm sure she's coming back. Now we have various members of our audience in the other room coming in to eat their lunches in our tiny little space. We have it's going to be standing room at some point here. I didn't realize you all were going to come here and eat with me. Good sandwiches, though. Great sandwiches. Give us a call, 855-935-8255, and we'll have some great conversation about money and some other stuff about money coming up in just a couple of minutes. So don't go away. Talking Real Money continues.
Tom and Don are talking real money. Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
We're having more fun than we could stand here at Retiremeet at the Maidenbauer Center in Bellevue with 400 people in the audience and some really cool people as part of our guest lineup. And one of those people, speaking of podcasts and the popularity of podcasts, one of those people hosts one of the more popular fun money podcasts on the podcast. What do we call podcast? It's not the air. It's on the web.
On the stream. I don't know.
Okay.
On the stream.
See, we don't have good words. And we're talk show hosts. We have terrible words. Joe Saul-Sehy, ladies and gentlemen, from Stacking Benjamins, the original Stacking Benjamins, right?
The original, not the AI ripoff one that seems to be on Spotify with us.
That's yours right there.
Gotcha.
So you can control that.
It's got to turn me down. Man, I sound loud.
Are you too loud? Well,
yes.
You're
I like
good.
your voice. If I had your voice, I'd burn mine. Just to
Can you do that to your voice?
I don't know, man. But if I had the Don, hey there.
I can't help it. I was born with this. Anyway, Joe Saul-Sehy is here. We're so thrilled that he's here. We love Stacking Benjamins. We work really closely with the folks at Stacking Benjamins. We've both been on each other's shows. And
You came out and spoke in Minneapolis at one of our meetup groups.
It was so much fun, even though it poured rain. Oh, my gosh. It was a torrential downpour, but the nicest people. Joe, you have these meetup groups.
We do. We're launching one right now in Boston. We have one in Minneapolis. That's our oldest one. We have one here in Seattle that 2 days ago, I went to that meetup group. We have them coming online in Tucson, and a really nice one at Minnesota State University in Mankato. And that one's in conjunction with students, which is really cool. When you can get college students who are really excited about finance and financial planning, it's fantastic. But, of course, it's Stacking Benjamins, so we don't call it a meetup group. We call them BAD.
Bad?
Benjamins After Dark.
Oh, very cool acronym, yeah.
Yes, and we start off with a pledge like it's the Cub Scouts.
Do you have like a Stacking Benjamins game where you stack $500 bills up? $100 bills, I mean, not 500.
We don't, it's
What's
coming.
a 500? What was a $500 bill? Do you remember?
Who was on a $500 bill?
Who was on a big one they had? Oh!
Anybody?
I think, wait, was it Grant or McKinley? Maybe it may have been McKinley.
I was going to guess Grant, but I don't know.
Oh, wait, I know what
If only there was a place where we could look up that stuff.
I'm going to look it up right here on AI. Who was on $500 bill? Okay, let's see. Let's see if ChatGPT.
And the winner is?
William McKinley!
William McKinley.
All right.
And we would have lost.
So we're going to change the name of our show to Stacking McKinleys.
Perfect.
Just so we're bigger than you. Anyway, Joe is here. This is Retiremeet, so we're talking about retirement. And Joe is here talking about really enjoying and living the best life you can live in retirement. Not about money, but about actually enjoying it. What's the deal? What are you trying to convince people to do?
Well, you've got plenty of great people here at Appella that can help people with their money. I think the place that people always think is when a financial planner walks into a meeting with you and wants to talk about what do you want. At least this happened when I was a financial planner way back in the day. People go, let's just get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about the money. We'll talk about all that stuff later. And my whole point of my talk today was that you really have to dig deeply into what do I want my retirement to look like. And the more granular you can get, and I get that it's going to change and you can't get super granular about everything, but the more granular you get, the easier it's going to be then to do the asset allocation right, to have the right tax strategy, to look at your estate plan.
So you're
to look
saying
at all
to
the
flip
pieces.
the process.
Flip the process.
Start with how do I want my life to be in retirement, and then figure out what that's going to cost?
Stephen,
is that right?
Amen, brother. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind, and the end is what do you want to do? So begin with that.
You're quoting daytimers? Isn't that what Covey made with the little daytimers and things?
Weren't those great? But I think those were Franklin planners, and then he bought into the company,
Okay.
Anyway.
So those were the little messages on each page.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
I miss those.
Debbie misses the date planners. I mean, my God, she carried her daytimer everywhere she went.
It was fantastic, wasn't it?
Now it's all on this thing.
I know.
Oh, God, I dropped my phone.
Not nearly.
So what should people be doing then? How should they be approaching this backward planning process?
I like the idea, and in my talk I talked about this. I like this thing that a friend of mine, Benjamin Brandt, who's a certified financial planner in North Dakota, he came on our show and he said that all data is good data. So when you find things that you don't like, find those out quickly. Find them out maybe even before you retire, right? Start play testing.
Are you saying
retirement.
try stuff?
Try as much stuff as you can.
So you're still working, but you got this plan for retirement. Let's say I want to be a serious golfer, but I just don't have the time. So you're saying do a lot more golfing before you retire.
I want to move to where Don lives and live right next to him. Try that out.
In celebration.
And then like a month later, I'll be like, I don't want to live next to Don. I want to live upstairs in Don's house.
I could have told you that. You didn't have to move down.
But seriously, how many people do you meet that go, when I retire, I'm going to do, we're going to be together for an event that I want to put on, which is there's a movie that called Retirement Planning that's up for best animated short in this year's Oscars. And it's this guy.
Wait, a retirement planning movie is up for an Oscar?
Isn't that great?
That's weird.
I know it is weird, but it's a really good movie. It's only 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
You can watch it for free on YouTube. I highly recommend it. I think The New Yorker is behind it, and it is really, really well done. But it's all these mistakes people make because they go, when I retire, I'm going to get to the 300 books that are, in my house. I'm going to learn what the birds are in my backyard. I'm going to do, whatever the next thing is, next thing. And you realize, why isn't this guy doing this today? Why isn't he starting to play test this stuff now? Why is he building these castles in the sky for later on?
He may not like birds. He finds he doesn't like birds.
And that's good data.
It's good data. It helps you decide you're not going to look at the birds. 855-935-TALK is our phone number, 855-935-8255. You can give us a call right now, and you can talk to Saul-Sehy or me or a whole lot of other people.
Tom and Don are talking real money. For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
All right. Today it's Tom. I called myself by the wrong name.
You did.
This is how you know I'm not AI.
It's the first thing to go, man.
This is how you know I'm not AI.
Live.
I make mistakes. By the way, I have to mention this before we go back to Joe. If you go looking for Stacking Benjamins on your favorite podcast service, and that happens to be something that's not Apple Podcasts, you may find an absolute imposter.
It's crazy.
There is an AI, somebody with AI created a fake Stacking Benjamins podcast.
It sounds nothing like our show.
No, it's terrible. Well, it's so good it's bad.
It actually truly is. The guy speaks better than we do. If I had his voice, like your voice, I would.
He's fake.
He's so fake. And you realize after a little while, that's the only way that I knew that it was. Well, I didn't understand the point of view of the show. I still don't understand what they're trying to do. Like because there's no call to action. There's something. There's something coming.
There's a scam a-coming.
You got to buy some crypto from these people. Or
I don't know. But don't get the Stacking Benjamins Daily podcast, the regular old Stacking Benjamins with the really good logo. Now, host of Stacking Benjamins guy, you love what you do. I can tell you love what you do. I've been on Stacking Benjamins with you. I've been on Talking Real Money with you. I've spent time with you. We've gone out to dinner together. We hang out. When you get to retirement age, what are you going to do in retirement?
Well,
are you going to do it?
I look at it a different way. So the answer is that Cheryl has my spouse has a much more traditional job. She works in medicine. And so she is going to have a very normal retirement like most of the Talking Real Money audience is. Mm-hmm. For me...
People with regular jobs, not podcasters.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. We're not regular people.
I wake up, I talk to interesting people, quote, for a living. Mm-hmm. I make myself laugh. Mm-hmm. I love what I do all day. And then what's nice is that Cheryl and I get to travel, get to do all the things that we love. But I just can't imagine for me, part of my talk was experiment, but so that you find what you love. I feel very lucky because I started that process at 40. Most people at age 40 are beginning the big years of making money. And for me, I sold my financial planning business at 40 to go figure out what I really liked because it was 85%. And I think most people don't do that.
That was a good move for you. That was almost like retiring, basically. You got rid of the 9 to 5 and found something you were passionate about.
I explored, and we talked about that Benjamin Brandt's line is all data is good data. I went back to school to become a middle school teacher and a track coach because that's how my wife and I met, and they were wonderful years. And you know what I learned? I didn't want to be a middle school teacher. Like going to school for that taught me. And that was
your data.
That was good data.
Yeah.
It was, but you know what that led me to was I like teaching, and I really like teaching about money. I don't like sitting down with people one-on-one because I would get ulcers and I'd worry too much all the time.
You and me both.
Yes. And so for me...
Tom is good at it.
He's wonderful at it. All the people that I've met, all the financial planners I've met through you guys,
they're good at this.
They are amazing at it. But what I realized was that the stuff that I did when I was on Channel 7 on TV, talking to big audiences, being on the microphone, that kind of thing, writing blog posts, I love that. I love teaching that way. And then I sleep well at night because if you don't take my advice, well...
Hey. Yeah. So you're saying past 65, past 70, you probably just be podcasting.
I want to be Paul Merriman when I grow up. That is my goal.
He's still kicking and out there. He's right out there talking right now.
He's having so much fun.
Yep.
He's having, and you know what? You talk to him. He looks at life as an experiment, and he's out there having fun, trying new things, but still holding on to the thing that he really loves. And he's truly great at it.
Well, I figured when I stopped doing the money podcast, which, 5, 7, 8 years from now, that Tom and I are going to start a new one called Two Old White Guys Waiting to Die. He's going to sit around and go, yep, we're 2 old white guys, and we're going to die someday. We don't know when. We don't predict the future.
On today's show, let's talk about them kids.
Yeah. We're a little whippersnappers.
Kids these days.
They don't respect their elders. Boy, I'm longing for the good old days. Anyway, so what would be your retirement message then for all of America listening to you right now on the Talking Real Money radio show and podcast?
Man, if you're not in retirement yet, instead of thinking about the things I'm going to do later, start experimenting with those things today. Get that data now so that when you get to retirement, you're not trying out all these things that end up really popping the balloon, right? You go, I thought I loved all this stuff. Turns out you didn't. That's a pretty disappointing retirement.
So put the life before the money, not the money before the life.
You're the man.
All righty. Joe Saul-Sehy, the Stacking Benjamins podcast, the real one, not daily, the real one. And it's 3 times a week, and it is a tremendous podcast. You need to listen because we're on it.
Thanks for having me.
Tom and Don are talking real money. Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Here's the thing. I don't remember what the number is, but we're at either the 11th or the 12th annual Retirement. Is it 11 or 12?
It's 11 here.
No, it's
13
14
overall.
Yeah, but
13.
somebody in the thing had 12th annual.
No, last year.
See? Yeah. Okay. See, we don't know what it is. We have no idea. But in honor of the somethingth annual Retiremeet, which is where we talk about retirement, coincidentally, cool name, we are trying to help you retire better here on the Talking Real Money radio show and podcast, soon to not be a radio show. I'm Don McDonald. Tom Cock is having, you going for the roast beef or the veggie? Roast beef. You were supposed to eat the veggie sandwich. Tom's not doing the show, so in his stead, I have the much, much nicer and far more talented and smarter and better looking Christine Benz, who is the personal finance and retirement planning director and a columnist, not just any columnist. She's the senior columnist at Morningstar.com. You've read her stuff. You love it. And she's here to tell us how to retire?
Yep. Wrote
Really?
a whole book about it.
How to retire? Just that's it.
How to retire.
How do you retire? Let's just start at the beginning. Go ahead.
Well, the first chapter in my book is about getting a vision for your retirement years.
So that's a lot like what
Very
Joe's
much
talking
so.
about.
We are having a mind meld about that. But the idea of retirement.
That's a scary image with your mind melding with Joe's. Sorry, I know him. He's kind of weird. But go ahead.
The idea of retirement is like this extended leisure period, I think is too simplistic. And unfortunately, a lot of people sort of stop their ideation with that they're thinking about, well, I want to golf more. I want to watch all the Netflix shows that I have this long queue of things I want to watch, whatever. You need to do those things. You need to do heavy travel, all of those happy things, but you also need something to relax from. You know, when you think of the best days in your life.
Something to relax from, not to relax to.
Right. You need
that's pretty.
balance.
Yeah. So what kind of thing are you relaxing? I mean, before you retired, you were working at a job. What kinds of things are you relaxing from?
Well, it might be some type of a job, or it might be some type of volunteer work, or, maybe you're just kind of the glue in your family where you're keeping everyone updated on what's going on with mom and dad, or, I leave it to people to define what is their purpose, what's giving them a little bit of structure in retirement. But that's the idea. Rather than just thinking of it as an extended vacation, you're probably not going to be super happy doing that week after week after week. You need something else.
You're basically talking shades of gray. That retirement isn't I was working, now I'm not working. Retirement is more of a process?
It's a better model where you are transitioning into retirement very gradually. Ideally, you'd start in your 50s where you're giving some thought to, and again, this is assuming that you are in good standing with your employer and you like some aspects of your job. See if you can't kind of transition to have your job be more of what you enjoy, less of the things you don't enjoy. I would give an example from my own career. There are things that I have to do, like a lot of new technology systems that I need to master, things like creating graphics to go along with an article I might write. Those are not things that, for one thing, I don't add a lot of value. It would take me a long time to do those things well. But Morningstar, my employer, has paired me with a person who I am mentoring in her career, where she helps me with some of those things that are not things that I love.
Yeah, those are things that aren't in your wheelhouse, so you don't want to be doing them. What is it that, as you're transitioning, as you say, I'm moving into things that I love. So how do you define the things that you love heading for retirement, the things you might keep doing?
A couple of things. I do a podcast too called The Long View. I love meeting people through the podcast and kind of networking, leveraging that network. I'm involved in the John C. Bogle Center for Financial Literacy. I was the president of the Bogle Center, and now I'm just a board member, but also plan the conference that we put on every year.
The Boglehead Conference?
And I love visioning that conference. How can we put put out the best educational product for bogleheads. So I enjoy that. I enjoy researching and writing. We work on a couple of big white papers every year. I love the team that I collaborate with on that. So those are the kind of jobs that I want to carry into the future.
Yeah. So how do you see your retirement? What things are you going to give up? What things will you continue? How do you make that decision?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. I may step away from certain parts of my job. I'm trying to travel less because one thing I noticed was that my husband and I love to travel. It was diminishing my enjoyment of leisure travel, the work travel. I just was so used to being on planes, and so I'm trying to be very, very choosy about the.
I apologize for the Seattle area. This is not the time to visit.
Oh no!
I know that this may have diminished your enjoyment of travel.
I love it here, and this is
gray.
a place I'd like to come.
You're a good gray person.
Well, no, but I do enjoy the Seattle area. The food scene is great.
Oh.
We've got some good dinner reservations. My husband's here with me, so yeah, this is just fine.
So you like to send?
Yeah, that was spectacular.
It was spectacular. Don't mean to plug Ascend because nobody can afford it, but man, their food's good. So you see yourself then maybe doing more of the leisure travel. You're going to give up the work travel.
Exactly.
You see yourself maybe finding a way to make what you've been doing less of a chore, like do you, for example, the podcast. Is that something you see continuing?
Potentially. I have a couple of podcast partners who could capably carry on without me if I decided I wanted to do less of that. One thing I like about the podcast, and I'm curious to hear if this resonates with you too, Don, is sort of the mandatory weekly learning. I'm always picking up something from our guests. Our pod is an interview format. So, yeah,
we'll talk
like
about that after the break. I'm with Christine Benz. You can give us a call at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255.
Tom and Don are talking real money. Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Wow, it's Retiremeet 2026 and I'm not dead yet. I am really grateful. Actually, I'm really grateful for this, for the opportunity to talk with people, for just, this. I'm grateful for so much these days, and I don't like giving any of this stuff up. I don't see myself retiring. I have a really hard time with it. What do you say to people who are going like, maybe I don't want to retire?
Keep working.
Really?
By all means.
Is it okay?
It is okay, but I would put in a couple of caveats. Some people are in positions where they have others' wherewithal riding on the job that they do. So doctors, attorneys, financial planners who are working with clients. There you need kind of a check on how will I know that there's
how will I
time
know
to
it's
give
the end
this,
of it?
Yep. Because
airline pilots just get it from the FAA.
Right. And certain professions do have some safeguards.
When it's appropriate.
Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind. But otherwise,
It's so
if you
nice.
love what you do, keep
it's
it
so
going.
nice to have a heckler.
We should probably add this to the show. It might help.
Yeah, well, except you're too far off mic, dude. You have to come over, wander into the mic. That's Tom, by the way, in the audience, finishing up his roast beast sandwich. So if you had an abiding message for just a one-sentence message for everybody listening about what the key to a successful retirement is, what would that be?
Relationships, connection, connectedness. Oops, I was allowed.
You can no. It can be a paragraph. Even.
Okay. Prioritize relationships.
I'm really flexible.
Prioritize relationships. It's a through line in my book, How to Retire, that everyone I talk to in the book is mentioning the value of relationships. And Laura Karstensen she's head of the Stanford Center on Longevity and a wonderful researcher and thinker about aging well. And she makes the point that as we age, invariably our social networks do winnow down a little bit. That there are sad reasons that happens, that people die, get sick, move away, any number of things. But some of that is actually self-selection, that we are focusing our energies on those relationships that really light us up. And so her point is, don't let that social network get too small. Be in the acquisition mode and diversify that friends network across ages, so you're not all aging with your cohort, that you want to bring younger people into your circle.
That's an interesting thought, is to not age with the same group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, certainly you have your peers who might be your closest friends, but don't limit it to peers.
But Joe Saul-Sehy, during your presentations were so similar, but they complemented each other so well. Joe said during his that relationship part of it, he gets the importance of it, but as an introvert, which probably half the population has some introversion, it makes that difficult. How would you suggest, and this is not financial, how would you suggest people get around that?
Well, so I'm an introvert too, and I asked Laura Karstensen about this in the book, and her point was, don't worry about it. Introverts, I don't know if she said this, but we've talked before, introverts like deep talk, that we don't like small talk. But we do, and I love deep talk. I love having people
long conversations.
Yeah, and they don't even need to be old friends. Like sometimes I'll meet someone who just is ready to go deep on a topic. And so her point was, don't sweat it too much. If you're an introvert, it doesn't mean that you will be less happy, but you do need to keep that inner circle. You need that close.
So you need the people. You have to kind of make yourself do it.
Yes, and put yourself in a position to run into people. So one bit of data that comes out on happiness and aging is that older adults tend to be happier in their own homes until they're like, I want to say early to mid 80s. And then some of the surveys suggest that older adults in community settings, it might even be like a condo building, they're happier than the ones who are in their homes because they're just in a position where they're running into people. And it can be like you're getting the mail and you're making chit chat with someone who lives in your building.
I'm going to go totally tangential. Totally now.
Please.
Because you just made me think about this. My mother's in a nursing home. She's in her 90s. She just turned 90. Just turning 90. When is there going to be a change in these long-term care facilities to make them less old? Less old. I mean, I think about us. I mean, I'm older than you are, but we grew up in a world that wasn't Frank Sinatra and big floral patterns and, playing stupid games and doing puppet shows. When is the retirement community, or do you have an opinion on this, going to catch up with the younger? I don't feel almost 70.
Right.
But I am. I don't feel it, and I don't want to feel it.
It's the human condition, I think, where we feel like we're younger people, even when our bodies aren't necessarily that young. In terms of care, it's tricky because there are like long-term care nursing facilities for people who need a lot of care. And those oftentimes aren't the most
They're
sunny.
depressing.
Right. And then there's this new flavor of, they're independent living facilities. But these continuing care retirement communities, I think, are a really nice model. The financial aspect gets very tricky, but this idea of people aging in a single community where their network is, it's a better model.
Kind of like the village to village sort of thing, where you live in a community where there's a community support group or that kind of thing, or something bigger than that. So
that's one, that's like a naturally occurring retirement community where the classic example would be like that high-rise building in a city that happens to have a bunch of people over 65. But then there are these continuing care retirement communities that provide care, explicit care, throughout someone's life.
And stick around for just a minute. We got to take another quick break. We'll be back with Christine Benz, and I just want to, before we go, talk a little bit of money, just a little. 855-935-TALK is our phone number.
Tom and Don are talking real money. For your real life and real future,
So that's
Tom and
gonna be a
Don are
tough
talking real money.
Hey there, welcome back to the show. I'm Don McDonald, live from Retiremeet 2026 at the Maidenbauer Center in Bellevue. And my guest, and I'm running out of time with her, and I'm so sad, is Christine Benz from Morningstar. And Christine, before we go, we talked about how you decide what kind of life you want to live in retirement, but there's such an important part of it, and that's what our show's about, is paying for that important part of it. What's the most important thing someone who's approaching retirement can do to make their financial situation better than it is right now?
Can I get 3 steps in?
You
real
can get
quick?
3 steps.
Okay.
You have like 3 minutes.
So get your arms around your budget. And spend some time tracking your expenses. It's something we've been doing in our household. We had not been sort of a pen and paper budgeting family. We've been kind of reverse budgeters where we just set our savings target and don't worry about what we're spending on. As retirement draws a little closer for us, we're getting more granular about our spending. So spend some time with that because that will help you figure out what you need to have for retirement. Then look at all your non-portfolio sources of income that you have. For most of us, that Social Security be the main bulwark, but some people, shrinking share, have pensions. Look at what you will get from those non-portfolio sources of income. Then subtract out what you need that portfolio to provide. So, you've got your spending minus your income sources from non-portfolio sources. What I'm left over with is the demand I will be placing on my portfolio. Spend some time looking at whether that is a sustainable amount. There are lots of benchmarks out there. 4% is the common guideline, but start with a little bit of math.
I heard 3.9 for Morningstar.
Yeah, talk about faux precision.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, Morningstar's latest number is 3.9 fixed. What about flexible?
Well, flexible, you get to take more. That's the good news, which is why I would say people approaching retirement should plan to be a bit flexible with their spending. Take less when the market's down. You can probably take more when it's up, or you should be able to take more than it's up. If you're using a flexible spending system, our research would suggest you can get closer to 6%.
Wow, we have always said 5, so wow.
Yeah, 5.7 I think was the highest safe withdrawal rate with one of the
Tom's
flexible
always said,
spending
that we can all be flexible. He said, in a good year, you go to Hawaii. In a bad year, you go to Great Wolf Lodge.
100%. And we're all used to being flexible during our working careers, right? So people need to get some coaching on this, I think, on the, employing one of these dynamic strategies. Don't just take 5.7% and run with it. But yes.
Real quickly, we'll have about a minute. What's the value of a financial advisor, and what's the key to picking one?
So I have a financial planner, and for us, the big value, there are several value adds. One is tax planning. I'm conversant there. I went through the CFP program, but I'm not at expert level. I want to be at expert level when it comes to my retirement, so she's helping us there. She's also helped give us a little bit of permission to do some lifetime giving to some young people in our lives, and that's been super fun. And then importantly, I have a history of cognitive decline in my family. My dad had Alzheimer's. We want a backup plan. We want someone who knows what we have and where we have it, who could step in if.
And is she a fiduciary, 100% fiduciary advisor?
She is. She's a CFP.
Yeah, good.
And so it's been a really fruitful relationship for us.
Christine Benz from Morningstar, thank you so much for coming out to Retiremeet and for spending a little time with us. Love your work. Read it all the time. Check it out at morningstar.com. And also check all our stuff out at talkingrealmoney.com.